Captain, I don't know.
At the beginning of the 18th century. No, 17th. So, I don't know. That one lady carrying Baby New Year, and she's on the dollar coin.
Corn, wine,
Starbucks,
Onions.
tomatoes.
If you know your past, you feel a definite sense of connectedness to something that's bigger than you are.
It gives you a sense of who you are in a much larger context.
With the museum, you can actually step into a room and it's as if you're stepping into that particular scenario 100 years ago.
Heritage is like the thread that holds the fabric of a community together.
If you don't know how it was done before, you don't appreciate what you have now.
Not everybody understands that Walla Walla is a very significant place historically. We have a huge responsibility to preserve and share that with the rest of the region. This is the time for us to complete our vision of what the museum could be for our community.
In Walla Walla, there's a rich, cultural, diverse history, but most people don't really know about that.
It's from Walla Walla that people spread out into the Northwest.
This was a big town. We were bigger than Seattle.
We were the most important city in the state of Washington, in fact, in the whole Northwest. And Walla Wallans and their children need to know that.
The children who have an understanding of the history of their area take an interest in preserving the area. They take an interest in being a part of it.
You've got to remember, Walla Walla is the cradle of Northwest history. And until that museum was established out there, that was lost on people.
We have the responsibility to preserve that memory. That takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of hope. And I suppose it takes a little bit of money, too.
In recent years, Fort Walla Walla Museum has made the transition from a smaller volunteer-run organization to a larger organization with a core group of staff in charge of day-to-day operations with a huge amount of volunteer support.
The museum is changing for several reasons, from being an all-volunteer to being a professional museum.
I think it has reached its stride as far as being not only a good museum, but a very effective organization, and one that recognizes the need to continue to expand its scope.
Right now we have a team of people working at the museum who have devotion to what they're doing. We have a level of commitment and expertise that we really should be taking advantage of.
The museum administrative staff do the fine job that they do with about half of the staff that other comparable museums enjoy. It indicates that there is some dedicated leadership, which is critical, particularly when you're depending on lots of volunteers to get the job done.
Based upon the limited resources that have been available, our community has done an amazing job getting the museum to where it is today. In the late 1950s, the generation of Walla Wallans that had rallied for the nation in World War II rallied for a new cause. They began developing plans for a comprehensive heritage museum. They recognized the value of community and made great personal sacrifices to begin preserving the cultural heritage of this region. Today it's time for us to shoulder that responsibility and, guided by the vision of those local heroes, carry the completion of the museum forward. During our strategic planning, we identified several needs that must be addressed in order for us to provide a full suite of services and have a campus that supports them. Currently, the exhibits are displayed in 5 separate buildings. As visitors travel between buildings, the artifacts are exposed to fluctuations in climate every time a door is open, and also possibly to insects. 20% of our artifacts require better protection. A few larger pieces displayed outdoors have no protection at all and are being worn down by their daily exposure to the elements. Our research showed us that the most cost-effective plan starts fresh with new exhibit halls. we will be able to better preserve our artifacts in climate-controlled facilities and have space for more exhibits as well as a preparation workshop. This will enable us to rotate artifacts from our collection more frequently. The new building has the added benefit of lowering our annual operating costs, utilizing a well-insulated, energy-efficient design and low-maintenance materials. The museum is situated on 2 levels, and we currently use golf carts to transport needy individuals between the Pioneer Settlement on the lower level and the exhibit halls on the upper level. As baby boomers start preparing for retirement, and as museum attendance increases, we'll need an elevator or some other motorized conveyance to give all of our guests quick and easy access to the whole facility. One of the challenges we face with our younger visitors is to keep things fun and interesting. We have a few hands-on stations to offer children experiential learning, but it's not enough. We plan to have multiple hands-on stations in every exhibit hall so that younger children will stay engaged and can tour the museum at the same pace as their parents and older siblings. The Children's Discovery Center will offer a variety of fun activities as well as child-size architecture. The kids know right away that it's for them because their parents don't fit. After entering the museum the way it is right now, the first thing visitors see are the restrooms. First impressions are incredibly important, and besides enhancing the museum's curb appeal, we want our guests to be greeted by a striking entrance gallery. There will be an adjacent orientation theater where guests can preview what the museum has to offer before paying admission, and there will also be a new museum store. Revenue from the expanded store will play a pivotal role in the museum's sustained growth after the initial reconstruction phase. Just as the store helps support the museum itself serves as an economic driver for the Walla Walla Valley in ways that some folks don't realize. Our local economy is already seeing several $1 million of direct and indirect benefit from museum goers every year. Turning the museum into a major regional attraction with expanded services will draw more visitors. This will enable us to double or even triple the economic benefit we provide our community.
We're in the electronic age, and we think everything can be saved on hard disk.
It's very important to have a place where you can go and just be grounded and see everything the way it was.
I think it's an absolute must to preserve our history, and anyone who feels they can invest in it is preserving our way of life.
We do have an obligation to preserve the physical remnants of the past, and those are expensive and difficult to maintain, but they are priceless.
To know that these things exist and that they're preserved instills a sense of stewardship.
It's important to be able to share that history of how the community came to be the place that we know and love today.
If we don't take care of the materials that we have, we won't be able to tell the history of Walla Walla, we won't be able to tell the history of the Northwest, and we won't be able to tell the history of America.
If we don't educate ourselves and our children about our heritage, it will be lost. We need to get behind this project. We need to help ourselves and help our community get in touch with our cultural heritage.
We have the master plan completed, we have the momentum, we have the staff, we have the volunteers, and the community support.
I, for one, want to help, and I hope a lot of other folks in the valley will, and I'm sure they will. With 400 volunteers out there to help carry on the mission of the museum, they're going to be successful.